We always end the show with my take on some of the big stories of the day. And so, to my take tonight, it is about the dramatic events that we saw in the country this week. 8 people, 6 of them men and 2 women, are accused of hate speech. There is public outcry. Then they're all dramatically rounded up in the city and are locked away at 2 police stations for 3 nights. Now, on any other day, this episode would have passed without incident. After all, spending as long as 1 week in a police cell incommunicado is just the kind of thing thousands of Kenyans deal with all the time. But no, these were not ordinary Kenyans, or so they told us. They were members of parliament, the August House. 4 days after the arrests, one of their lawyers, John Khaminwa, made a most amazing submission in court. He pleaded with the magistrate to release these MPs since, in his words, and I quote, they were living in deplorable conditions. In fact, he went further to state that the 8 should not have been subjected to the conditions he described as inhumane since they were representatives of the Kenyan people. Now, Kabete MP Ferdinand Waititu, for instance, was said to have been forced to use his shoes as a pillow. Machakos Senator Johnstone Muthama's sister complained loudly that the legislator had not changed clothes for 24 hours. Kilifi Woman Representative Aisha Jumwa said her cell was unfit for human habitation. And each of the rest had their own tales, from cold floors to having ugali and cabbage for lunch to being denied any visits by relatives and friends. There is no doubt, ladies and gentlemen, that detention facilities in Kenya, whether police cells or prisons, are deplorable. As a matter of fact, no one should live in them in their current condition. But the truth is that they exist and people live in them. Why then would members of parliament expect any preferential treatment while thousands of Kenyans languish in these very cells without the luxury of a lawyer to argue their case? These ordinary Kenyans have no media to highlight their plight and no politician to give ultimatums to the government on their behalf. How many of these members of parliament have ever fought this hard for the so-called ordinary Kenyans to be held in dignified cells? How many bills of such nature, for example, are pending before either house? It is gratifying to note that now the Kilifi Woman Representative Aisha Jumwa has pledged to pay for the refurbishment of the cell where she spent 3 nights. And perhaps the other 7 should follow suit. But it appears that many leaders in this country are still completely out of touch with the reality of those they represent. And if locking them up occasionally is what it will take to put them in the shoes of the electorate, then so be it. Perhaps the court legislators may want to stage nationwide protests regarding the state of our detention facilities next time. And that tonight is my take. Thank you very much for watching our show today and every Sunday. I'm Yvonne Okwara Matole. Our sign language interpreter was William Silla. We wish you a great week ahead. Good night, Kenya.